Another day of Draft Daily. I'm Alex Martini, and here we're going to talk about the NFL headlines in college sports. The first thing I want to talk about in the NFL is the Raiders upsetting the 49ers. Honestly, if you watched my last video, I predicted the 49ers, and I would have predicted a blowout if I could. And the Raiders are coming to play. Derek Carr doing a great job. They're showing some heart. I think they're fighting for the job and doing it well. The next thing I want to talk about, the Browns versus the Colts. Browns put up a fight. Brian Hoyer didn't really keep them in it. I mean, they were up, but when you give Luck a minute and a half to win the game at the end of the game, that's when Luck's luck. I mean, he came down. He did what he needed to do. A big reception to TY for a touchdown to win it. That's showing some heart. The next thing we want to talk about is the change in Cleveland. Is there going to be a change in Cleveland? No one really knows. If you were to ask me, I would say it's Johnny Manziel time. Brian Hoyer with an interception in the red zone late in the season. You're in a playoff run. That can't happen. To me, that's a green light to say, Johnny, you know what? It's your turn. You're up. The next thing I want to talk about is in the Redskins game. They got blown out by the Rams. The Rams are a tough team nowadays, but they just didn't look good. But Colt McCoy went down. Everyone in the stands started chanting RG3. To me, I think they've given up on RG3. They put him in. They put him in a spot of the game where it's like, whatever you do, you're not going to win the game. So, they're probably judging him just like they always do. I personally think RG3 I think he's a great quarterback. There's talk of him leaving. I'm hoping he goes to the Eagles, but maybe not. The next thing I want to talk about is Peyton Manning, no touchdown. I got this question from someone, and the first thing I thought of, oh yeah, Peyton Manning threw a touchdown. 50 times in a row he's thrown a touchdown. But this week, against the Bills, he did not, breaking his streak. He was only 3 off Drew Brees. So, he's late in his career. He's not going to get another run like that. Which is the same for Peyton, He lost, someone beat his record earlier. He beat a record, it's a shame. The next thing I want to talk about is the Seahawks defense. They played really well against the Eagles, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about how cocky they are. Michael Bennett talking about how he's mad at Mark Sanchez for impersonating a good quarterback. Well, a good quarterback to me, out of 6 starts, 4-2, that's considered a good start. So Michael Bennett, next time you talk about something like that, you might want to take in consideration the situation. Kind of just like the whole thing with Richard Sherman last year, Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree can beat Richard Sherman, and I really do hope he does next week after that remark. The next thing I'd like to talk about is Foles. Is he back? Is he healthy? Is he ready to go? The questions are leering because every time someone asks Kelly, it's, oh, we're not worried about that. We're worried about next week. Whoever plays quarterback, they're going to do great. Mark Sanchez is doing fine. 4-2, fine. I think Mark Sanchez would be the better pick for next week against the Cowboys just because Nick Foles, after sitting 6 weeks for 5.5, to me, that's tough to be thrown into a big Cowboys game, as you know about their rival. Next, we're going to move on to college football. A lot has happened over the week, but the first thing I want to talk about is the Final Four. In the Sugar Bowl, we have Alabama versus Ohio State. And our prediction there is we're going to say Alabama. Ohio State destroyed Wisconsin, but at the same time, to me, the Wisconsin Badgers are not Alabama. Alabama's a special team. Their offense is going to get going. They're not based off of one thing. They have a running game and they have a passing game. And Ohio State, I don't know how they're going to react to that, but we'll see. The next in the Rose Bowl, we have Oregon versus Florida State. A lot of people are probably going to say Florida State. Oregon is an elite team. Marcus Mariota winning the Pac-12 Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Quarterback of the Year. Mariota's going to take advantage of their struggling defense. If Georgia Tech can score on their first 3 drives, Mariota's absolutely going to score on their first 3 drives. And Jameis Winston, a couple weeks ago, threw 4 interceptions to a team unranked. To me, that shows lack of concentration and just a whole lot of other things. So we're going to pick Oregon there. And we're going to go ahead and pick Oregon versus Alabama since that's on January 1st that those 2 games are going to be played. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pick Oregon. Just because the defense, everyone's saying defense, defense, defense. But they played really well against Arizona. They came alive. You know, but if they play like that, Alabama's got no chance. They're not going to slow down Marcus Mariota just like any team hasn't. And the next one we're talking about is the Heisman. You know, Jameis Winston knocked out of that whole thing. And personally, honest with you, I'm thinking Mariota's going to win. You know, you win the Pac-12 Player of the Year, or Offensive Player of the Year. That's not always the biggest thing in the world to win that, because Pac-12 is not the toughest thing. But, you know, everyone's talking about. I talked to a lot of people about who they think they're going to win. It's all about how you play. And every single person that's answered me said it's all about how you play in the big games. Melvin Gordon was second on ours. He didn't run well against Ohio State, which is good. Ohio State would plan for that. They would have wanted that to be stopped. And they did. They executed. Arizona knew what they were getting out of Mariota. Mariota couldn't get stopped. 3 rushing touchdowns, including a 20-yard run that was big, and 2 5-yard touchdown runs. 318 yards in the air, and 2 touchdown passes. So yes, we're going to go ahead and pick Mariota for Heisman. The next thing we're going to talk about is these stupid playoffs. I think the fact that I have 4 teams, to me, I don't like it. I think it's a rigged system. But the first thing I'll talk about is TCU. They're 3rd in the nation. Blow a team out and go down to 6? 6? They're on 3 spots, and they've done nothing wrong but win. They played the game they have to do, and they won by 40 points, and they go down. Out of the playoffs, Ohio State takes their position. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is Marshall. They have not lost a game yet, but they're unranked. I get they're not playing the best teams. Florida State's not playing the best teams, but they're ranked 3rd in the nation. So that's something to think about. And that's all here at Draft Daily. Tune in Wednesday where we'll have a guest star. Thank you. Have a great day.